Morning, folks. July 26th. I'm going to do our weekly garden tour. I'm going to start out with Ruby. She's out here sitting on the railing of the porch. She's 19. She spends a lot of time out here on the porch. She doesn't go too far anymore. Get ahead of her. There you go. But she can still jump down. So this is the view out my front door. I have a beautiful place to live. So I'm going to start out the tour, as always, with the beans. Get down off the porch without falling. Things are really starting to happen in the garden now. Things are really maturing fast. Remember I told you I keep topping these beans so they don't grow out of my reach? Look at this one bean right here. See that? I pulled off all those beans yesterday afternoon. That bean grew that way in about 12 hours. There's another one. Look at that. So last time I was out here, I told you I just found my first blossom. I always look forward to the first of everything in the garden, the first plant out of the ground, the first blossom, the first tomato, the first red tomato, the first time I eat everything. Well, this past week, since we met out here last week, I've been out here eating these beans. Let me see if I can find one. There we go. Okay, they're not huge, they're not big, but I keep eating them, and I'm really looking forward to making dilly beans. I don't make very much dill stuff at all. I prefer sweet pickles, but I like dilly beans. So this week, hopefully, I'm going to start collecting beans for next weekend. I'll make some dilly beans. So they're looking real good. A lot of little beans in there. I'll make sure I keep them watered this week so the beans can grow. I got to eat this bean. Hang on a second. That's good. All right, let's get down here to the garden. See what's going on. One thing that's going on, I haven't been out here too much. It's been too hot. Things are a little bit out of control. There's a nice healthy eggplant. These tomatoes, this plant's not bad out of control at all. There's two kinds of tomato plants. Determinate, that means the plant knows how big it's going to get and what it's going to do. And then there's indeterminates. I'm really sure this plant is a determinate. This is a heritage variety, and it already knows how big it's going to get and what it's going to do. And the reason I say that is it's not going crazy over the top of the stake. And I got 3 good leaders here. There's one there, one there, one there. They're all inside the cage. That's really good. See how I haven't used very many clips? Indeterminates, ones that just don't stop growing, I've used all my clips off the plants. But this plant looks very healthy. No disease. You're going to notice other ones, especially the heritage varieties, I got some disease problems. And you just can't avoid it with tomatoes. Another heritage tomato, see, with all those clips there, they stay right inside the cage very nicely. I appreciate that. And we got the jalapenos. You know, I said I kind of planted these, I don't know, I said by accident, but I did buy the seedlings and I planted them, so it couldn't have been too much of an accident. But I'm really glad I got them because I'm using them in my canning. And later on this morning after I get done making this video, I got to get out here and pick the garden real hard and get some canning done today. I did a little pressure cooking yesterday. Look at the other canning video. And there's a little bit of bug damage. I've been telling you right along, not much bug damage, but now it's time for Japanese beetles. So I check my plants at least twice a day, and when I find a beetle on the leaf, all I got to do is just catch it in between the leaf and squish it. I can keep up with them. That little branch got 2 nice tomatoes on it, but it broke going over top of the cage there. But that's okay. The tomatoes will still ripen up and it'll be fine. I've had, I don't even know, 3 or 4 meals from my eggplants. My wife made eggplant parmesan for me one night. Oh, that was so good. I had it for breakfast yesterday. All the tomatoes looking good. Another eggplant. It's a different variety eggplant, and it's just amazing how, depending on the variety, whether the bugs like it or not. There's these are the mild peppers. You can tell they're mild because they grow down. The little bit spicier ones, they grow up. I'll show you when I get there. Looking pretty good in this row. Everything's looking pretty good. So one of the joys of my life right now is every night when I come home from work, right there's my driveway. I drive right past my garden, and I park right behind me. I get out of my car and I walk my garden. And one of the things that I do every day after work is I walk around and I pick these little sun gold tomatoes. And these things are just a sweet little piece of heaven. And I walk around and I eat as many as I want. You know, at least a dozen of them or so, at least. There's another one. I got sun glare out here a little bit this morning. It's hard to see. Look at that. Right there. 2 nice little sun gold tomatoes. Excuse me while I eat. That's good. Cool in the morning. Got dew on it. There's another one. My daughter calls this my snack garden. I eat a lot of my vegetables right out here. I can eat it right out here. Excuse me, I gotta eat this another one again. Oh man, it's good. These green peppers, I was hoping they were, talking with food in my mouth now. I was hoping they were yellow peppers. Maybe they're not. My wife cuts those up and freezes them, so I gotta get them picked for her tomorrow. Look at these carrots. Remember I told you I was just gonna leave them alone and see. I was gonna thin them originally. I said, heck with that. I'm just gonna see what they do. Nice, great big tops. Well, let me show you what they're doing. Sure they don't make a liar out of me. They're making their little carrots. So I'm just gonna leave them and see if I don't wind up with a whole bunch of nice little carrots. This another pepper. Here's a pear tomato, and this is a heritage variety. You see it's got some damage on it, some disease on it. And once you get disease, there's really nothing you can do about it. You know, you can spray them, but it really doesn't make a lot of difference. You can trim off disease branches, which I've already done a couple times. But once the disease is in the plant, it's in the plant. There's a nice little pepper plant. Got a lot of those are the not hot. I like frying up with those. One thing I do about my garden is I try to grow what works for me. Like these heritages, I've done them before, and I really didn't have a lot of choice when I bought my seedlings this year. So I got some. When they work out, they're nice. They're a novelty, but you know, it's a small plant. It's not going to yield a lot, and they're very susceptible to disease. Here's one of my first red tomatoes. I already picked. I have a big yellow variety. They're low acid. They're like those sun golds, but a big slicing tomato. Here's an eggplant. There's not a lot of blossoms on it, and it's getting some stress there, some disease. I'm not really sure what that is. All right, here we go into those big boy tomatoes. A little bit of disease problems down there. I'll probably trim that up a little bit, but all right, here we go. Here's these banana peppers. See how they're growing up, and that tells me they're a little spicy. I like them just fine. They're a little spicy for my wife. Another tomato. This is another variety of eggplant. Like I said, I've already had 3 or 4 meals, good meals out of it. There's one that I'll pick that today. That'll be my first big boy. Maybe I'll leave it on there another day. It's not a good red yet. Nice little pepper plant. Nice little big boy. We got a plum tomato, harvested lettuce out of that bucket. Pepper with a leek in it. Remember, I put a leek in every bucket. I can't wait till I start using them. Lettuce is getting too mature. It's hard to keep up with all the lettuce. Tomatoes. Here's a bucket. I think I took out, used up a bucket of lettuce, and I replanted it with 2 more heads of lettuce and another leek. Another planting of cauliflower. There's some more. Looks like a big boy plant. All right, here's a good example of indeterminate tomato plants. This thing, you just see how wild this thing is getting. Ran out of clips on this plant. This plant, I'm training it to go on the pipe. I'll tie that off to the pipe, and it'll grow way down this pipe. Here's another one. This one's going crazy. Hope you can see that good. How many tops are on that thing? I gotta cut those leaders. It's where I cut. I was in a hurry. I cut 2 cauliflowers. I had to get them cut and in the refrigerator. I'm gonna can them up later today, but I just cut them and left the debris laying there after work, and it was hot. Here's the tomato trellis. You know, I gotta measure that. It's about 10 feet. And wait until you see, if you watch that canning video I'm gonna do today, wait till you see the pile of cucumbers that I've gotten out of this little trellis this week. There's a nice one. This is a burpless. Some people call them a European cucumber. I really prefer Kirby's for canning, but those are working just fine. And I'll pick all this really hard this morning before I start my canning. There's quite a few cucumbers in there. Here's that one cucumber plant showed you last week. Last week it was only, I think, over here. It might have been, maybe it was over here, but it's left the trellis growing through what was a cauliflower and is growing across this tomato plant. Like I said, I just like to sometimes leave them and see what they do. There's some more of those sun gold tomatoes that are just going wild. And I'll let them go as much as I dare before they start falling on the ground. And I already got some on the ground. I either cut them off or tie them up. So let me show you something over here. I've been telling you about my wife's special squash. Well, this is the first one. Let me zoom in on that. Sorry about that. There it is. There it is. That's a scallop squash. That's ready to go. All right. I'll pick that this morning when I'm out here. So that's the first one of her squash. One of the the cool thing about being out here is seeing these blossoms. Look at that blossom. You ever see such a pretty thing? Every morning, a bee working it, 2 bees working it. Every morning the blossoms open up. And I got this whole row. Look at them, how they're growing over top of the irrigation pipe. The little cage is holding them up right. There's Ruby. She's out here. She's not happy because she's got her feet wet, but she likes to follow me around. So before we know it, we're going to have lots and lots of these squash. And you got to keep up with them because they get too old, they're no good. So we're going to be, there's that second planting of cucumbers. I think the timing's going to work out pretty good. I'll probably have cucumbers off of that and off of the first planting at the same time. So I'll have to really ramp up my pickle production for a little while. But this is working out real good. They're real healthy. I'll have cucumbers a lot longer this summer. This fall, I should say. So this planting of cauliflower looking good. I'm looking forward to having a fall crop. This is what you call a cole crop. Cauliflower, cabbage, broccoli, Brussels sprouts. Those are what they call cole crops. So here's see that leaf right there? Half of it's gone. That's a cabbage looper. Cabbage looper ate that sucker. One worm ate that in a day. I didn't even notice that yesterday. You know, I see a little bit of holes here and there. It's still acceptable damage, but I'll be looking for that caterpillar. So this is my little story behind this. This is my little bench. A friend of mine, Roy, he gave that to me, and I leave it out here in the garden, and it's perfect for putting my fertilizer bucket on and other stuff. So I call that my Roy. I use my Roy a lot. Really appreciate that. So, you know, for recovery, you know, I was thinking about it before I came out here this morning, that, you know, one thing that, you know, the garden does is makes you get up and go. I'm not sitting in the house, you know, watching coffee and drinking TV. I'm out here going, doing. And It's before the sun is up over the trees, so I'm not getting blasted by the sunlight. And I have a schedule. I have a reason to get up and go and do, not sit around and waste the day. There's Ruby again. She wants to go inside. You can count on her in these videos. She does the walk with me, but she wants to go in the house. So recovery, have a schedule, get up, go, do something, and enjoy the day. Get it started, right? What I used to say in the Army used to say, we do more by 9 o'clock than most people do all day. Get up and get started. All right, things are growing. Things are looking pretty darn good. My harvesting is definitely going to ramp up this week, and I'm going to try to get as much canned as I can. All right, thanks for being out here with me. Make progress in your recovery, and we'll see you next time.